All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Becoming Yellow podcast. This is episode number 3. So thanks if you've stuck around for these last 6 weeks, trying to create something new. As you can see, we've got a guest here today, my lovely wife.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Letitia, and I am Simon's wife.
So, the title of today's podcast is titled Our First Year of Marriage. So basically, we want to dive into a bit about our history, sort of the journey we've been on so far. I feel that there's a lot of experience that we can share, and sort of you guys can take home information from that. It's something that we want to...
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's a learning experience and others can learn from it as well. I think our first year was our hardest year, but not for the reasons people think.
Yeah, it's completely out of left field. I sort of put a little glimpse into this in the last episode about doing hard things or going through hard experiences, and it's definitely something we've been through that sort of not many people go through this in their journey.
Or even that young.
Yeah. But we've teased it enough. Let's just dive straight in. So,
why don't you start with how we met?
Yeah. So, How did we meet?
We met at Woolworths. It was my first day, and Simon was my manager. I think my first impression of him wasn't the best. I thought he was weird. But I think as I got to know him through the month, we started to connect.
Yeah, so we met back in... That's funny. We met back in we met back in 2016. Started dating on the 20th of January 2017. But I guess we sort of crossed paths a lot beforehand.
And it's really funny because, when people have that serendipity moment, I think we crossed lives. We went to the same school. He knew my family.
I worked with your brother and sister.
Yeah.
I knew your sister was in the grade above me.
I actually
thought I knew everyone in the grade above me.
I dated his neighbour.
I was about to say 2 of my neighbours, but no.
No.
One of my neighbours and then an arch nemesis.
I think our lives crossed, but I think when I wasn't even ready to have a serious relationship. I think even when I first met him, I think it was towards the end of having gotten out of a recent relationship. I really wanted to actually focus on myself and be single for quite a long time. I was just turned 21. So I wanted to enjoy that. And then feelings happened. And I fell in love with him before he even knew it.
Yeah, I guess also looking back at, as she was saying, the timing, and if she met me any earlier, I don't think this would have happened. Let's just put it out there. I had a interesting childhood, high school life, primary school life.
See, but I think your interesting is different to my interesting.
Yeah, no, as in my interesting would have scared you away.
I mean, I went to about 13 schools, and I moved around a lot. So it was actually quite different to meet someone whose parents were still together, brothers and sisters, everyone all got along.
Lived in one house my whole life.
Yeah, so it was it was different. I had a very different upbringing, so to speak. So he says interesting in the way he grew up, but I think we were completely different.
I were completely different. No, but I'm saying like my high school. Like if you met me in high school,
Oh, yeah.
you'd probably think I'm a dick, I'm a douchebag. Like you wouldn't want to bar with me type thing.
It's probably true. He only does that at soccer games now. Being a hooligan.
Yeah, but I was different in high school.
Yeah.
Like I was target practice, but I just stood up for myself. But yeah, so we got together we met 2016, got together 2017, and
I
then
think we were engaged and married within 3 years of each other.
yeah, well, we got married on our 3rd anniversary.
Yeah, which I think people feel like that is so soon. Like, how do you know? And I especially like learning about Simon's religion, that did play a factor because it was like abstinence until marriage. It was like no alcohol. It was like nothing like that. And I always grew up with alcohol and, not that same mindset for religion. So I think when you want to have a relationship, want to enjoy everything. We stayed true to
Well, I was gonna say I don't think I've actually disclosed my religion. I've talked about God in the podcast, but disclaimer for all of you questioning, we're Seventh-day Adventist. So yeah, no sex till marriage.
can't
no
move in with each
alcohol.
other.
Like you can move in with each other, but like I guess it's a
Harder.
what's the word? It's like inevitable type thing. So
I
that's
kind of
what
liked it. Like I actually felt like we could really focus on our relationships and our wants and needs besides that in a relationship. So I think it actually, it played a big part in us actually still being together, just because we had more time to have important conversations that I feel like some people don't even touch. But
and
yeah.
I guess like because of it, sex wasn't the focal part of our relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, as a lot of people these days, it is their focal part of their relationship, and then it breaks down if it's not their type thing.
Yeah, and there's always that saying, what if it's not good? Like, you're in a relationship, you work with each other on like, what you like, what you don't like when it comes to that. I don't think that should be a factor in a relationship necessarily as a deal breaker. But yeah, so.
I mean, I've grown up there my whole life, so I wouldn't know any different.
Though it was difficult for him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think it was easier for me.
Yeah, I don't know how though. I always questioned it.
I knew I had been in other relationships, so I knew how special it is to do that. And I just knew if we waited, we could do anything because, it's like temptation. If you have something in front of you, and you want it, but we have an agreement that we're going to wait to get it. If we both stick at it, it just makes it feel more special because we both committed to that. And I think that's what made it addictive. I look forward to the bigger picture of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very narrow-minded to the point. Lots of goals and ambitions.
Yes, a lot of goals and ambitions.
But yeah, so
and then marriage.
Yeah, we got married in 2020. Now
COVID.
Yes. Now it's funny because we got married 28th of January 2020. But just before we got married, COVID was starting to pop up in China. And we were slowly hearing about it here and there, in December of 2019. Yeah. And then...
Remember I was like almost one of the first cases, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, so the week leading into
it was like
our
2 weeks.
wedding, or 2 weeks leading to our wedding, Letitia was like sick.
I was like, I had a flu, but I was also vomiting and we tried everything under the sun, antibiotics. Like, I was on about so many pills that week and nothing would get rid of it. And then I think 2 days before the wedding, they're like, oh, we're just going to test you for some studies with a swab. I think they only did my mouth though. And they said, just letting you know though, if it comes back with anything, we might have to cancel your wedding. I'm like, can you not call me? It was so scary. And yeah, so I actually ended up feeling better on the wedding day, but then I was still sick straight after it, going into our honeymoon. But yeah, they could not find the cause, what I actually had, because it wasn't normal for flu symptoms to be vomiting and body aches. Like, it was, yeah.
But then, like, looking in hindsight, you most likely had.
I know, because they actually tested me towards the 12th day as well.
Actually, yeah, I didn't think of that.
So even if it could have been negative.
Yeah.
But it was actually so long into it.
Yeah.
And they didn't mention the word COVID at the time. They were swabbing me. We're just doing some studies for something. Yeah. So that was really interesting.
But then, yeah, so then we had our wedding, you know, there was all the pre-stuff of COVID. We got married. She was fine on the wedding day, miraculously.
I know it sounds weird, but I woke up at 4 a.m. I only had an hour's sleep, and I went downstairs because the hair person was on, and I introduced myself, told her what I wanted, and then I took all my pills. I went down upstairs to sleep again. And I woke up like I was like $1 million. And it was only 2 hours sleep as well. But yeah, that was really interesting. And then I didn't take any medication the rest of the day. I was fine. It was the first time I actually probably got to eat. And then the next day I woke up, same thing, sick. So I didn't mind as long as my wedding day.
Yeah, she was good on the wedding day. But yeah, so we got married. Went away a couple of days inland on like a little couples getaway sort of type thing.
Yeah, it was like a retreat, like it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and then from that I think we went home, packed our bags, and then pretty much went straight on a cruise in New Zealand for
10 days.
10 days, I think it was. Had fun there exploring New Zealand, doing all that kind of stuff. Came back to Sydney. Then flew up to Queensland.
Oh, you forgot to mention how strict they were on the cruise.
But they're always strict.
Like, they were all wearing masks at that point.
But don't they always wear masks?
No.
Yeah, they were wearing masks. I thought that was normal.
No.
Actually, they were all wearing masks because at that stage, COVID was pretty much everywhere but Australia.
Yeah, I think it was just
and so,
that everyone was like, wash your hands, like make sure you do this and that.
And then also while we were out at sea, there was the Princess Cruises that was going to Vanuatu, New Caledonia, and they had a confirmed case of COVID while we were out at sea at the same time.
Yeah.
But we were fine, maybe had COVID with us, but we were fine.
You weren't that sick.
No, that's the thing. I don't think I got sick.
I think you because you had garlic and honeymoon, remember?
Oh, yeah.
You were a little
did have
sick.
a sore throat. But that's all I got.
Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah. And then, got back home, went up to Queensland, and when we were in Queensland, we then heard our Ovation of the Seas cruise ship has COVID, and we're like, was that with us or the next one? And then they clarified later in the new segment that it was the one that just got on the day we got off. So we were cleared. But yeah, we're up in Queensland, enjoyed our honeymoon up there. I think our honeymoon was like a month.
Yeah, it was. We actually also got free flights as well.
Yeah, we did. There was a delay.
Because there was a 5-hour delay and we said that we had a wedding. and now we're missing the wedding. So they gave us a free ticket each.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I think we later used
Yeah.
to go to Melbourne.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we went to Queensland, and we actually thought we were going to do all these like adventure rides, theme parks and everything like that. I think we got there and we just went back and chilled by the pool. I think we just used it as a really relaxing time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Enjoying being honeymooners.
Yeah. So yeah, we did that, finished our month-long honeymoon, and then we came back to Sydney. You know, in hindsight, our first year of marriage is probably like, you know, everyone's sort of worst nightmare for marriage.
I think that's definitely one of the hardest ones.
It was definitely
because you're learning to compromise with each other as well.
But then on top of that, we came home to a somewhat normal life for 2 weeks, and then lockdown happened.
Like complete lockdown.
Church closed. I don't think I'd missed a church session until our honeymoon for since I was a child. Shops were closed except for your grocery shops.
I think
everyone was working from home except for nurses. Apparently, we still needed to go. But were you a peaceful worker at the time?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah. Woolworths in the beginning. Worked at Woolworths as a manager.
Yeah. So Woolworths was still open.
And that was hard. Like, shout out to all you retail people that had to work during COVID and had to deal with the limitations and confrontation. Yeah. And then I ended up getting a job in New South Wales Health. And yeah, being a peer support mental health worker for the homeless team. That was very fulfilling. But yeah, we were both health workers and our life technically didn't stop as much as others. Yeah. But it was still like, what are we going to do this weekend? We have to stay in.
Like all of our downtime was still stuck within our 2-bedroom granny flat.
And we also like going out places. I think I get stuck inside and I really don't like that. So I feel like we used to go out to eat a lot of places as well. Like that was just our way of connecting and we couldn't do that.
No.
So I guess in a way though, we did that at home without the distractions a little bit.
See, I quite enjoyed COVID lockdown.
I mean, I don't think I hated it either. For the simple fact that it was just us two being able to connect as a new married couple.
Yeah, I mean, like most people, I say most people, I throw it out there, but like a lot of people's probably one of their worst nightmares, getting married and then being...
in a global pandemic.
Yeah, in a global pandemic and then being stuck in the house with your spouse.
Look, I'm not going to say it was rainbows.
How long?
It wasn't rainbows, but we did...
It wasn't, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was good for us to then have our massive Maltese wedding. And then literally just focusing on us two for the next 6 months.
Mind you, for our wedding, we had 200 guests, and unfortunately that was cutting children and still some family. I think when we first broke down our guest list, I had 200 of just my side.
Yeah, probably more.
And Simon had 36. And I'm like, okay, you can have your 36. Who do I got to cut? Like, basically, like, I'm going to cut all his whole family. I think, like, being Maltese, we just have a big one. So, and it's also easily offended as well.
Yeah.
So, as it, understandably as well. Like, that's... But, yeah, we did have a big wedding.
With a lot of opinions. And, very hot.
I don't think we listened to many opinions, so I think that's
No,
what
we
was the
didn't.
good. That was the good part. I
But
think,
we did piss off a lot of people.
yeah, I think the best thing was Simon wasn't fussed on much. Like he let me have like free range with a lot of things, but when it
I
comes
just wanted to
to
wear my yellow suit. No, I wanted to wear a pink suit.
when it comes to like choosing like what I want his help in, I think that was the easy parts. I think I wrote a list of all the photographers. Here's the videos for all of them. Choose. Our florist. Choose. You know?
Yeah.
I think like that's what we did, and other than that he didn't care. Except for budgeting. Like which we did stick on budget.
Yeah,
We did actually. I'm very thankful for our family to have helped out with that. But yeah, yeah, it was a beautiful wedding.
It was.
It was a good wedding.
Wedding of the century, if you ask me.
Okay, so let's I guess get into our next journey.
Yeah.
I think me and Simon from the beginning we met, we said we wanted kids straight away.
Yeah.
And our families, I guess, said, no, you got to have a year of marriage. You know, you got to enjoy that time. But
They were saying more. They were saying save.
yeah, like,
Get a house first.
of course, we were adamant though. We wanted
kids early.
I think when I got married at 24.
I was 23. So you were.
Yeah, I would have been 25 then.
Yeah, you would have been 25.
Yeah, so that to me, I thought I'd be a younger mum. So it like my goal was to have kids straight away. I think,
and I always wanted that as well.
I think though everyone did get in our heads a bit to why we pushed it off a little bit. Because we weren't necessarily avoiding pregnancy, like as a married couple, but I think we weren't trying either.
Yeah, I think the first couple of months we weren't trying.
We
weren't
avoiding.
Yeah, like we weren't avoiding. Like she wasn't on the pill. I wasn't wearing a condom. Like we weren't actively trying, but we weren't
Stopping it.
Yeah, preventing it, stopping it. But that was only for like 2-3 months.
Yeah, and then
say from May is when we started properly actively trying.
In June we went to the doctors. I'm someone that gets in my head a little bit too much. Like I overthink a lot, and I always hear stories of people like finding out they're pregnant or they just had a child and then they've got some sort of illness. So I asked Simon to come to the doctor with me so we can get like checked to make sure we're all good. You know, especially as a woman, there's a lot of obstacles in that. I was, I wanted to be clear-minded and knowing this was the perfect time. So we went to the doctors and...
I thought she was crazy, FYI. I'm like, we're young, like you're 25, like I'm 23, like...
Nothing's going to be wrong.
Nothing's going to be wrong, you're crazy. I think I did fight it for a little bit.
I can't remember. Like, I don't think you... Like, I think at the end it was just more... like my own thoughts, which it was actually really hard to get a doctor's appointment at that time as well, in person.
Yeah.
So we went in person. So the doctor we sat down with the doctor, told him, you know, we want to have kids, we just want to do some testing. I think I got a blood test. And just asked about my like cycle. And they asked Simon some questions around like I guess has he ever had any issues down there? And then he asked Simon
Is anything wrong with me?
Yeah, and I think early in our marriage we noticed there was like some issues around like
Erectile dysfunction.
yeah. And then so he mentioned that, and the doctor's like, well, that's interesting for his age, because it's not very common. And then, so he ordered an ultrasound.
Yes, he sent me to a couple of different specialists, got me to do an ultrasound. No, he got me to do an ultrasound first.
Yeah, plus he started your medication.
Yeah, started medication to fix the erectile dysfunction, but got me to get an ultrasound to see why.
Yeah.
And so then I did the ultrasound and
they found a lump.
Yeah, that. But then this is where I get hazy. And I think it's because I've blocked
I'm here for you, babe.
a lot of this out of my mind.
What do you think?
Can't remember who sent me to get the ultrasound.
Stephen, definitely.
Was it our GP?
Yeah.
Or was it the specialist?
No. He because Stephen was investigating the ED and he was looking for causes. There was no need for it. Could have been a blood test that you could have done. Yeah, there was no need for it because if medication fixes it, then it's fine. But sometimes it's generally a cause.
But that's the thing, medication would have always fixed it. He just wanted to figure out
why. Exactly. So you did the ultrasound with Stephen.
Yeah.
Sorry, our GP. And then we saw the lump.
Yeah.
Then we got referred to a urologist. And the actual urologist was actually really breezy about it.
Yeah.
He was like, you're fine. It's actually probably scar tissue if you've ever been like kicked there as a child or...
And I have been multiple times. I won't name any names.
So I think like we left there pretty easy. Like, it was just
we
in our
left
head.
it thinking that it's nothing, will be fine.
Yeah. He said to us though in the beginning, the only times to get concerned is if it grows, if it gets blood flow, if it starts hurting a lot more.
Yeah.
To watch out for those. Those are the signs.
Yeah. And then, so the urologist, just to cover all bases, wanted to get one. So this was like in August, September of 2020. He then wanted me to get another scan in 3 months' time, just to cover all bases, just to make sure everything is fine.
It's still the same size.
Now, that first scan, my lump/scar tissue was 3 millimeters.
3, yeah.
When I went back in November to get my second ultrasound, it was 5 millimeters.
5.
So he had only grown a minimal amount, like 5 millimeters is 0.05 centimeters or 0.5 centimeters, something like that.
2 mils.
Yeah, but I don't know what mils is. How much centimeters?
Okay.
So tiny.
So
keep on. I'm not a tradie.
I mean, anyone can look at a ruler.
So it had grown 2 millimeters, but at this point, the urologist wasn't sure if it had actually grown because there was still no blood flow. And at this point...
It didn't grow a lot.
Yeah, it didn't grow a lot. So he was saying it could have been like a different technician, different machinery. There's a lot of different factors that could have made this minimal amount of growth in 3 months. But then that's when he questioned about pain. And then that was when I was like...
no.
Yeah, and that one I was like, actually. But see, this pain I've been experiencing since I was like 15, 16. I actually remember the first time I ever felt it. Can't remember the age. Can't remember what game. It was at Leichhardt Oval. in the toilets underneath the grandstand.
I don't think I need to know specifics.
Let the people know what they want to know.
Okay.
So like 14, 15 or 16, that was when I was a member there. And yeah, as I was peeing, I felt it. And then like ever since then, like maybe it was every 6 months to once a year, either while I'm peeing or just at random times of the day, I feel like a tingling pain sensation. And then that's when I was like, I don't know if this is pain, but this is what I'm feeling. And it was the first time Tisha had heard of it.
Yeah, I was shocked.
But it's because it, like I said, it rarely happened. But I think before that second scan, I had maybe felt that sensation maybe 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, which is why it was fresh on my mind. No, so then he was like, okay, because it's had a minimal growth, and I mentioned the pain, to cover all bases, get the final scan in 3 months' time.
Mind you, each time he was examined, they could never feel it.
Apparently it feels like concrete. For you guys, if you want to check yourself, I never felt it, but apparently it feels like concrete. So to cover all bases, he wanted me to get the third scan in another 3 months.
February.
Which was in February. And in this last 3 months, I don't know if it was subconscious or if it was, in the back of my head that I was feeling it, but in this last 3 months, I did feel that tingling sensation, pain more frequent, like maybe once a week.
Mind you, also in this time, we actually are actively trying for a baby. We're doing the ovulation tests. We're checking my temperature. We did everything under the sun. I think it had been since like August, like probably that we were trying. So, that was also getting to me personally, month after month. Negative.
Trying, failing.
Yeah. And then February come around and Simon did the next test. Now, this might have been my fault because I also have anxiety. So I actually opened the report. Which
I told her I did not want her to.
2 weeks before the appointment. I opened it.
All these appointments, all these scans, I'm like, I don't want to know. And she opened them all, but for this third one, I'm like, I've been feeling pain more. I just don't want to know. I want to find out.
And we were literally on our way. We were in front of a baby bunting. So we pulled into the... I'm like, Simon, I didn't know how to tell him. I just you see on the report, there's blood flow now. I think there was 9 mils now.
That was 11 or 12.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tripled in size from the first scan.
And blood flow... 90% of the times he told us means cancer. So we I think we just hugged. I think Sai had a little cry. I think that was really hard. I feel like I'm going to cry now.
I was 23 years old, or 24 years old at the time.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, it was hard. You don't expect it. I think we just passed a 1 year anniversary at this point. Yeah. But we knew as soon as we saw the report. We knew what it meant.
Yeah.
We called his parents. We had to sit down and we told them. I think it was a bit sad, but I think... Yeah, and this is a part I think I struggled with. Simon's family is a family of faith, and I think, although I was a lot more closer. Yeah, I was a lot more closer to God than I had ever been. Before COVID, I had went for the 3 years. I actually stopped working on Saturdays 1 year into my relationship with Simon. So yeah, I was still wrapping my head around the faith in God that everything is going to be okay. And I called the doctors the next day and we pushed I told them what the scan said and they pushed us in, I think, the next day or the day after.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
In a couple of days.
Yeah, so, which was good. Like, I think I would have gone crazy for the 2 weeks that I would have had to wait.
So we don't open the...
But it's also vital, we did know. And he confirmed it. He confirmed that it was...
He said that he thinks
it's like 90% chance. Yeah. He was quite certain, though.
He was certain. He did offer get a second opinion if we wanted, but I think we both kind of knew.
I think we left that appointment with a hospital referral to go in and book his surgery.
Yeah.
I think that day. And they will call us. It had to be done within the month.
Yeah, within 30 days.
Yeah. So we knew in that time that that's what's going to happen. I think we shared the news with our family and friends at that point. I remember the amazing support you got from like your soccer team, from church, like our parents. Like, yeah, I think like we all wrapped ourselves around you to try and make it a bit better because your mental health started to get a bit down.
Yeah, at that point I was, like I said, I was 24 with cancer. I didn't know how to take that.
Me and Simon always had these conversations that I have a story. I've had a story from a young age. I had a lot of trauma. I've had a lot of like issues. So that was I always knew that about me. That was my story. That's who I was. But when I met Simon, he had nothing necessarily bad. Besides losing an uncle, that he was close with. So I think that was, and then to have this, you've got cancer. We don't know what the stage is. We didn't know anything like that.
Yeah.
Because once blood flow is in, it can go anywhere. Like there's your lymph node right next to it in your groin. So I think that was the scary part, the waiting. But we got a date. I think it was about 3 to 4 weeks later.
Yeah, 24th of April, wasn't it?
14th.
That's enough.
I'm always good with dates. Did the surgery and was actually thankful to someone. They spoke to the nurses to let me go in with Simon before surgery because
I was still during COVID.
COVID
was a bit lax at that stage.
You still weren't allowed.
Yeah, you still weren't allowed visitors in the hospital.
You weren't allowed to go past the door to have like family support, unless you're a child.
Yeah.
But I had someone really vouch for me, and I was very thankful that I was able to.
Yeah, you were pretty much with me.
I was with you all the way until you went in.
Yeah.
And then he went in. And they said it was going to be 1 to 2 hours.
I was asleep the whole time, so...
Let me just say, that was the longest 6 hours of my life.
Was it 6 hours?
It was a long time. They actually had to wake him up.
I wonder how many cases they had to cancel after me that day.
And then they had to put him back under again.
Huh?
Yeah.
They woke me up.
Well, you went out into pre, and then you went back in.
This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
Because it took so long for pathology to confirm it was cancer.
That's because they gassed 1 million people.
And the reason is, look, shout out to Simon's mum, but she worked in pathology that day. And not only that, because it's a reproductive system that requires children, they're definitely more strict on removing it, unless it actually had a purpose, like it needed to be done.
Yeah.
They had 6 people approve to confirm it was cancer.
But they normally wouldn't.
No, probably not that much. They definitely do need like at least 2 to 3. But yeah, they unfortunately that happened. So then they were able to send the confirm with the surgery, and then he went back in. But he didn't wake up, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't remember waking up. But just everyone knows why it took so long. Apparently, the doctor looked at it with the assistant. Doctor was like, yeah, clear, sexual cancer. Pack it up, let's move on to the next one. Then as they're packing it up, the assistant looked at the name and was like, huh? And then I think she froze or something.
Yeah,
and then the
she obviously realised that it was like his mum's son.
Yeah, and then the doctor came over and looked at the last name and was like, is that Alex's son? And then the doctor was like, okay. And yeah, the doctor would get like 3 or 4 other doctors to double check that it was cancer, saying that everyone there knows me.
And I'm still waiting, obviously, at this call. I don't know anything that's going on. His mum knew.
Yeah, they went and told my mum.
Your mum saw it.
Oh, did she?
She did. Anyway, so she knew. So,
actually, yeah, she did say there was a lot of fat on there.
So she came out and she saw me. I was with my support crew. I had my family, I think my sister, mum, I think possibly my dad even too. I can't remember. But then also his dad. His mum came out. You could just see that she had been crying. And I just like, okay, we knew this. Like, yep. Cried a little myself. And I'm actually really like awkward. I don't cry a lot. In like important things. Non-important things, like I can cry in a movie or something like that. But when it's like your wedding day and you're so happy, or like someone dies, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not the most emotional person.
Yeah, emotional, yeah.
But, and then she said to me, your mum, she's like, Simon would never have known this if he didn't marry you.
Yeah, so true.
Because he wouldn't have gone to that doctor's appointment. He would have probably been at home. And he was thankful that I came into his life because we found it. Because of us. Like,
yeah.
Because of my overprotectiveness. So maybe do get checked before you have kids.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, he came out of surgery. He was in a lot of pain. I think we got home. I think my mum looked after him for a few days.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, he couldn't work for 6 weeks.
Off work.
Couldn't work. I was going out making the money. The breadwinner. His family, I think, really supported us with our rent.
Yeah.
I think my mum also helped financially with food and everything like that. So we were very blessed. I think even church helped us.
Yeah, they did.
As well. So I think that got us to where we weren't struggling during this hard time focusing on Simon. I think after a few months, so now we've been referred to IVF.
Oh, wait, did we mention that they took out my testicle?
Well, I've only got one. That was I thought that would have meant like the surgery low. But yeah, he only has one ball.
Yeah.
We were actually thinking of doing a cosmetic surgery of like a silicone ball. But he
But
likes
now,
it.
I don't think two can fit in there anymore.
Yeah, it has definitely
Bunk,
changed.
maybe?
Just changed to form just around the one.
Yeah.
But if he gets it again, which they did say,
I've got a high
possibility that he'll get probably a cosmetic surgery after that. So now you have one ball?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got one. Is
Ball?
it left? That's righty.
Yeah,
Because
the
lefty
right.
disappeared.
Yeah, lefty disappeared. That's really weird. Anyway, so now we've been referred to IVF because he had to do samples of his sperm before surgery because in case, anything happened.
In case anything happened, something went wrong.
Yeah.
And then they also done like a sperm count also to sort of
It's
see.
rubbish.
Yeah, the sperm count was low
Low mobility, low counts.
but,
Yeah, it was definitely terrible.
but I worked better with one testicle.
You just say that.
Well, afterwards the mobility was the count.
Okay, they don't actually need to know that. Sorry for the
It's
TMI.
an open air podcast.
Okay, so we have now been welcomed to IVF. We had tried. So I think we had also been trying for about 8 months actively before that.
IVF's the next podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when we're going to talk about kids? No, wasn't that kids?
No, so first you marriage cancer. And then the next one is ideas. My nerve matter IVF. IVF and kids.
Okay, so what do I got to talk about now on my mental health?
I don't know. How do we
Yes,
wrap
what
it
is
up?
No, is that what this? That's what your thing said.
Yeah, but I sort of copied it for both.
Okay,
Currently in production, first year.
so now we can just wrap it up. That was probably the hardest battle.
Yeah, the cancer.
And the COVID.
Yeah.
But then we can talk about the highs as well.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the toughest first year of marriage that we definitely didn't expect.
Anyone could expect.
Yeah, I think at our age, I think that just takes into factor of it.
Yeah, being so young.
Just wasn't expecting it. When I always said, let's go to the doctors, I just meant we weren't going to get pregnant straight away. That's the expectation I was having in that moment. But then we got Simon's cancer, and that really shaped him into who he is today.
Oh yeah, it's definitely part of my journey and
More awareness, even.
Yeah, awareness.
You've done runs for it. You've written posts for it. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely shaped you.
100%.
I don't know if I jinxed it or not. I think I should just blame myself because the year before we got married in November, Simon wanted a mo.
Oh yeah, I always want to mow. It's not the first time.
And I said to him, when you have a reason to have a mo, you can have a mo.
So I now have a mow every November, and her birthday is in November.
And you know what? I can't say anything. I'm just yep, there you go, supporting men.
But in my defense, I look good in a mow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. I think that's a lot of horse poop. But anyways, so yeah, that was our first year of marriage. I still loved him. When people feel like you can, I don't know if I'm going to survive this. I feel like I had the opposite. I'm like, we're going to survive this because of our first year.
Yeah, I think because our first year was so hard. Or, yeah.
So look, there's other podcasts coming to explain our other difficulties.
Yeah, it's definitely shaped
Us.
our relationship and made it closer, as not many people go through something this hard within their first 12 to 14 months of marriage.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely made us closer and shaped the trajectory of our marriage.
Look, I don't know, like, to be honest, like, and I know, to be honest, I know this. We would not be where we were today, we are today, without COVID and without your cancer.
Yeah.
Because they got us our beautiful kids. And that will come later on.
Yeah,
but
so
that
this
would not
is-
have happened.
So this is a part 1 of a 2-part series. She'll be here for the next one. We're going to go into our IVF journey and then
Our babies.
kids and then mental health struggles from
Yeah. You'll
everything
definitely-
we've been through.
Yeah, you'll definitely, I think, get a bit more from me, mental health, later on. But I think it's really good now to give you our beginning, our middle, because, you know, there's no end right now.
8
And
years strong.
8 years, yeah.
5 years married.
And then we,
Had to count.
yes, he wrote it wrong in the card for our anniversary. So yeah, that was us. That was us.
But yes, that's our first year of marriage and sort of the cancer journey, which has definitely brought us closer. And yeah, as I was saying, shaped
Still like him. Still love him mostly.
shaped the trajectory of our marriage.
Yeah.
So the next episode we're talking about IVF, kids,
And a little bit of mental health.
your mental health,
That's about it.
and terrible twos.
Dum dum dum. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Becoming Yellow podcast. We hope you enjoy your time here today. Don't forget to give us a review. You can give us a review on Spotify. It's a free way to show your support and help grow the channel and the podcast. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to the Becoming Yellow podcast. This is your host, Simon, and his beautiful wife, Letitia.
Bye.
We'll see you in a fortnight. Peace out. Love yous all.